You have never been in more danger, and you have never felt less afraid. Not from wolves, not from famine, not from the cold, from something quieter, something that doesn't announce itself as an enemy, because it arrived disguised as comfort. We are the safest, most fed, most protected generation that has ever lived. And somehow, we are also the softest. A slow reply, a minor inconvenience, a mildly uncomfortable conversation, and something inside us reacts as if it were a genuine threat to survival. That is not an accident, and it is not your fault, not entirely. But by the end of this video, it will be your responsibility, because I am going to answer the exact question this video exists to answer. Why? Why are we the softest generation in history? Not in theory, not in vague terms, but the precise mechanism, the 2,000-year-old warning that predicted it, and the exact discipline required to reverse it, starting with you, starting today. Stay to the end, because this is not a video about feeling motivated for an hour. This is the video that tells you the truth and hands you exactly what to do with it. So here is why. The actual mechanism, not the vague explanation. Every generation before us was forced into strength. Cold winters, physical labor, scarcity, real danger. The world itself did the work of building a person's resilience, whether they asked for it or not. We removed that, deliberately, generation after generation, one convenience at a time. And each removal taken alone looked like nothing but progress. We no longer need to wait, so we lost patience. We no longer need to navigate without instruction, so we lost resourcefulness. We no longer need to sit with an unanswered question for more than a few seconds, so we lost the tolerance that required. None of it was one mistake. It was 1,000 reasonable improvements that together dismantled the exact conditions that used to build a strong person. That is the why. We did not get soft because we are worse than the men before us. We got soft because we succeeded so completely at removing difficulty that we removed the thing difficulty used to build. And the proof of it is simple. Strength was never natural. It was manufactured by hardship. Remove the hardship, and the manufacturing stops. Now understand what used to stand in its place, because one man proved it under the heaviest pressure imaginable. Marcus Aurelius ruled the most powerful empire on earth, with more comfort available to him than almost any human being in history. Wars, plagues, betrayals, endless demands, and total access to every luxury that could have let him escape all of it. He chose the opposite. Every morning, before dawn, before the empire's demands began, he sat down and wrote to himself. Not for an audience, not for history. Instructions to the only person he was actually responsible for disciplining, himself. Wake up and do the work of a human being, he told himself. Do not wait to feel like doing what is right before you do it. The discomfort is not a reason to stop. It is the material you are working with. This is what discipline actually is. Not a personality trait some men are born with and others are not. A decision repeated daily regardless of how it feels, made by a man who had every excuse in the world to stop making it, and made it anyway. That is the answer sitting underneath the why of this entire video. Marcus Aurelius had access to total comfort and refused it on purpose. We have access to total comfort and call the refusal of it optional. But here is what most men get wrong when they try to imitate this kind of strength. They think discipline is loud. It isn't. Marcus Aurelius's discipline was inseparable from his humility. He reminded himself constantly not to be impressed with his own power, to remember that the praise of others meant nothing about his actual character, to treat every person he ruled, down to the lowest servant in his court, as someone worth genuine patience and respect, not because it was politically useful, but because he believed arrogance was a form of weakness dressed up as strength. That is the part missing from most modern versions of strength content. Men performing dominance mistaking volume for discipline, mistaking arrogance for confidence. Real discipline, the kind Marcus Aurelius practiced, does not need an audience. It does not need to prove itself by putting someone else down. It is quiet, repeated, and completely unconcerned with whether anyone is watching it happen. That is discipline paired with humility, and it is rarer than either quality on its own. But humility alone is not the entire answer either. And this is where most philosophy content stops short of the truth. Machiavelli, writing more than 1,000 years after Marcus Aurelius, studied power with total honesty, and he identified the opposite danger. Unchecked ego does not just make a man arrogant, it makes him blind. It makes him believe his own comfort, his own reputation, his own image is the thing worth protecting, right up until reality removes it from him without warning. Machiavelli's entire argument was that a man who is ruled by ego cannot see clearly because ego needs to be flattered and reality does not care what flatters you. So here is the balance almost nobody talks about. Marcus Aurelius, without discipline, becomes passive. Machiavelli's ego, left unchecked, becomes delusional. But a man who takes Machiavelli's sharp, clear-eyed honesty about the world and holds it inside Marcus Aurelius's humility and discipline, that man becomes something genuinely rare. Sharp, but not arrogant. Disciplined, but not performing it for anyone. Clear-eyed about the world exactly as it is without needing his ego protected from that clarity. That is the man this generation has almost entirely stopped producing. So here is exactly what to do with all of this. Not a feeling, a method. 1. Reintroduce difficulty on purpose before life forces it on you. Cold water, a hard conversation you've been avoiding. Physical effort you didn't strictly have to do. Marcus Aurelius did not wait for hardship. He trained the discipline daily, regardless of comfort available to him. 2. Practice discipline with no audience. The version of your discipline that only shows up when someone is watching is not discipline. It's performance. Do the work, especially on the day nobody would ever know if you skipped it. 3. Stay sharp without needing your ego protected. Read the world honestly, the way Machiavelli did. See situations, people, and yourself exactly as they are, not as your pride would prefer them to be. That clarity, held with Marcus Aurelius's humility instead of arrogance, is what actually makes a man dangerous in the best sense of the word. This is not complicated. It was never complicated. It is simply the exact opposite of everything modern comfort has trained you to default toward. So here it is. The full answer to the question this entire video was built to solve. We are the softest generation in history because we removed the hardship that used to manufacture strength and mistook the resulting comfort for progress instead of what it actually was. A slow erosion of the exact thing that makes a man capable. Marcus Aurelius proved that discipline paired with humility can survive total access to comfort if a man decides it will. Machiavelli proved that clarity without ego is what keeps a man from being blindsided by a world that does not care about his self-image. Put them together and you get the answer this video promised at the very beginning. Not louder, not angrier, sharper, quieter. Disciplined without needing anyone to witness it, and honest about the world without needing your pride protected from what that honesty reveals. That is not natural anymore. It has to be chosen deliberately, the same way Marcus Aurelius chose it every single morning before dawn. So here is what I want from you right now before you close this video. Comment one word. The exact comfort you know has made you soft. Name it publicly. That is the first act of discipline this video is asking of you, and it costs you nothing but honesty. Then subscribe, because this channel does not exist to make you feel comfortable about where you are. It exists to hand you the truth and the tools to act on it. And we are only getting started. You were not born soft. You were made soft by a world that removed everything that used to prove otherwise. Be disciplined, be humble, be sharp, and go find something that resists you.